What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another edition, guys, of Kicking It with Crowder. This is episode 104, and this one is brought to you by Crazy Daisy Incorporated. She is owned by Kimberly Jordan. She is the co-owner and operator of the business, guys. So if you have any questions, if you have any flowers, you have a big wedding coming up, she does a fabulous job, guys. So be sure to check her Facebook page out, Crazy Daisy. Check her out. Guys, if you need to get your girlfriend some flowers, hit her up. She does a fabulous job, guys. And that is who's bringing you this episode today. We have a huge game tonight in the NFL. Kind of sucks because Davante Adams isn't going to be able to be out there, as well as Allen Lazard and Marcus Valdes-Scantling. So they're missing three of their top receivers. The Green Bay Packers are tonight, and that's why I think Aaron Rodgers is just going to pull this thing out when you least expect it. He's like 8-0 in his last 8 games since 2020 in prime time, so he plays a lot of primetime games. The guy wins a lot of those games. So I don't know if they're going to win tonight, but I'm telling you, they're going to play good. It's going to be a close game. Look for them to cover that 6.5 point spread tonight. So that's how I like that game tonight. I'll go ahead and take the Green Bay Packers with the 6.5. Wouldn't be shocked if they kept it within, a field goal, or if they ended up winning on a last-second field goal. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. He's going to play great tonight versus Kyler Murray, another guy who's completing 73% of his passes. He's doing a wonderful job under Kingsbury, now in his third season. They are just a great pairing. And DeAndre Hopkins, they have those two. They have two solid running backs in Edmonds and Connor. And then their defense. Yes, the big news today out of Arizona is J.J. Watt is out with a shoulder injury. He's trying to get as many opinions as he possibly can right now, but looks like J.J. Watt may miss the remainder of the season, so that's huge news. They do have Chandler Jones. They do have some talented secondary guys, Murphy, and also the safety Budda Baker in the secondary. But the big thing with them is their linebackers, Simmons, and then they just drafted the guy from Tulsa this past year as well. So they have a wonderful team, wonderful defense. They're first in points per game right now. Their offense gets it done. So 7-0 Cardinals versus 6-1 Packers. What else do you want on Thursday Night Football in the NFL? So you do have some college games tonight. But, the big game this weekend, Georgia, Florida. Yes, Florida. No one really expected them to come into this game with 3 losses, already losing to Kentucky, LSU, and Alabama. So Georgia comes in with this ferocious defense, and I think Anthony Richardson is going to get the nod at quarterback. Emory Jones, doesn't really matter who's going to play quarterback because this Georgia defense is coming after him. Doesn't really matter who's under center. And you ask the coaches, you ask a lot of players, it really doesn't matter who's under center right now for the Georgia Bulldogs, but that's the big question this weekend heading into this Florida game. If JT Daniels is healthy, is he the guy to go at quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs, or to Stetson Bennett, the mailman, is he going to get to deliver this Saturday versus the Florida Gators? I think that JT Daniels gives Georgia the best shot to win a national championship, gives them the best chance or best shot to spread the ball and stretch the ball down the field and really get the ball in their playmakers' hands. Stetson Bennett can also do the same thing, but he just doesn't have quite the arm that JT Daniels has. He runs a lot of these bootlegs, a lot of these play-action fakes, able to get the ball out of his hands, get the ball in Bauer's hands. Jermaine Burton's coming back. You have George Pickens coming back as well. And, it just seems to me like Stetson Bennett has kind of won over this team, and it'd be hard to go to JT Daniels. But at the same time, you have to realize what you have in JT Daniels, the former 5-star blue chipper, big arm, big talented guy, beat Cincinnati last year in the bowl game in that wonderful comeback. It's a very hard decision for Kirby Smart. He made the wrong decision a few years ago with Fromm and Justin Fields, and we'll see. He gets paid a lot of money, and he's going to have to make a really, really tough decision this week. So we'll see. Both guys may play. I mean, that's how it could go down. Both guys could play. I think Georgia can beat everyone on the schedule with JT Daniels. With Stetson Bennett. The question is, can Stetson Bennett beat Alabama? Can he beat a Florida Gator who he lost to last year? So there are those question marks, and we'll see who's at quarterback a little bit later on this weekend. So big games this weekend. You got Ole Miss coming to Auburn as a 3-point underdog with Matt Corral at the quarterback position. He is probably my Heisman favorite right now. Him or Bryce Young, both of those guys have played tremendously. Matt Corral can really carry the rock. When you go to tackle him, you better be ready because he is coming in for a big hit. Kentucky, one loss. Kentucky plays Mississippi State. FSU plays Clemson. Of course, FSU, Clemson had the debacle last year with the COVID testing. Clemson goes all the way to FSU, then they don't play. It's a forfeit. So that was a weird incident, and they hadn't really squashed the beef at ACC Media Day earlier this year. So I'm excited to see what FSU can do. If this is the year they're going to beat Clemson, this may be it. Clemson's struggling. They're losing player after player, game after game. I know they've lost 3 games now. So if FSU can go into Death Valley and get a victory, that'll be huge. Iowa, Wisconsin, Penn State, Ohio State. So you have some really big games. Michigan State, 2 undefeateds right there in the Big Ten. So big weekend of college football. You're going to find out a lot about a couple teams, especially in the Big Ten. And then the Atlanta Braves, guys, got to rep. The Atlanta Braves are in the World Series. They're playing the Houston Astros. Of course, the Atlanta Braves get the big win in Game 1 in Houston, which was huge. And then Charlie Morton, though, guys, although the Atlanta Braves do get the win, they lose Charlie Morton, arguably their best pitcher all year, and they lose him. A guy they went out and got. The Atlanta Braves normally don't go out and get guys. They went out and got him to pitch in situations just like he did the other night in Game 1 of the World Series. And he breaks his leg, and not only does he break his leg, he breaks his leg and he pitches for maybe 3 or 4 more batters. Like, he struck out Jose Altuve with a broken leg. He struck him out. He came out of the game. That was his last batter. But he threw him a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and then he broke him off with an 83-mile-an-hour curveball with a broken leg. Stayed in the game, and you gotta tip your hat to Charlie Morton. He went out there and gave it all he could. Big loss for the Atlanta Braves. It really only affects one game. It really affects whatever game you were going to go to Morton, Game 4 or Game 5. It really affects you there. Do you go a bullpen game now? You have a couple different options. I'm not sure what you do right now. At the end of the day, do you start a Jesse Chavez? Do you start a Drew Smiley? Do you start Oscar Hinoa? Do you start Tukey? You have a lot of different ways you can go. You're just looking to get you 2-3 solid innings and go in there and shut it down, and then play a bullpen type game. Ian Anderson and Max Fried now are huge in this series. Max Fried has gotten roughed up a bit his last 2 starts. Ian Anderson really needs to be sharp Game 3 in front of the home crowd. First time in a World Series game since 1999. So it's going to be a sellout crowd. There'll be a lot of people in the Battery as well. So just in the area, there's just going to be so many Braves fans. Really excited to see what they do. Game 3, they're tied 1-1. Atlanta really needs to come out of this series, guys. These next 3 games, they really need to win 2 out of 3. They have to go back to Houston, or just don't go back to Houston at all. But if they do go back to Houston, go back up 3-2. You can't go down 3-2. And then also, hey, if you win the next 3 games in Atlanta, you're the World Series champions. You don't even have to go to Houston. So we'll see what happens. This is very gritty Houston ball club. Dusty Baker will have these guys ready to play. That's why I think Houston will get a game. But we'll see what happens. If the Braves can go up 3-2, go to Houston, I like their chances. But we'll see what happens. Big news, man. Charlie Morton, guys, like I said, he's out for the rest of the series. And, just wish him the best. He pitched great for us this year. We got him for this type of situation. Just unlucky Braves, unlucky Georgia sports, unlucky as always with the Atlanta Braves. But, this team has been hurt all year. They had Acuna get hurt. They had Soroka get hurt. No one thought the Atlanta Braves could get there. but they're there now, and we'll see what happens. Big series moving forward, and I just want to say thank you for the Atlanta Braves for getting to the World Series, for playing so hard, and for never giving up. You know, they could have folded a long time ago. They never did, and that's why they're playing in the World Series. So going to be a great series, guys, and really looking forward to it moving forward. The NBA, guys, is underway. You have that rare time in the season where the NBA, the MLB, and the NFL are all going on, college football. Just a crazy time right now. If you follow along with all those sports, you have a lot going on right now. So we have picks coming later on tonight with the college football picks, of course, guys, if you follow along. And I want to shout out to my sponsors real quick. I want to shout out not only to Crazy Daisy, who's leading the way this episode, but also Ivy Park Sports Bar and Grill will be there next Thursday night. Also, Greer Home Solutions and F&M Cigars, guys. So those, I just want to say big shout out to all those guys before we move forward for my picks. Like I said, 31, 21, and 1 moving forward right now with my picks. I was 3-2 last week. Those picks, guys, are of course against the spread, and then my NFL picks, which I'm 67-38 moving forward. Those are NFL picks straight up, guys. So I will of course have those picks for you later on in the show. Don't be sure to stick around for that. And then also, you can find me, guys. I'm on Apple, I'm on Spotify, I'm on the iHeartRadio app. We put this thing out on YouTube. Basically, anywhere you get your favorite content, you can find me, guys. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. We got a lot of good stuff out there on Instagram as well. So Kicking It with Crowder, guys. Like I said, I would like to thank my sponsors, Ivy Park, Greer Home Solutions, F&M Cigars, Crazy Daisy, and as always, guys, we can't do the show without you, so I just want to say thank you guys so much each and every week, each and every share, each and every like, guys. Thank you all so much. If you don't already, guys, please check out my Facebook page, Kicking It with Crowder. We have over 1,000 likes on that page. We need to keep that going. We need to keep improving that number. Be sure to smash that like button, guys. Follow the page, follow the group. Follow the page, follow the group. Follow the page, follow the group. All right. So, I got some NFL stuff ahead of me, and I've already talked a little bit about this game tonight. You have the Packers, you have the Cardinals, Aaron Rodgers, possibly his last year in Green Bay. I don't know why it would be his last year, because the guy is just playing incredible football right now. Him and Matt LaFleur just have a great relationship. And you have Aaron Jones, you have Devontae Adams, who is the best wide receiver in football right now. I've argued this the last few years. I'm done arguing. Devontae Adams is the best receiver. They're going to be without him tonight, so that's going to be huge. But the Arizona Cardinals have never been there. They haven't been this good before. They haven't been 7-0 with this regime. With this, they had Carson Palmer and some other guys a few years ago. This is a whole new group, whole new coaching staff, whole new players. And the Cardinals, they've had some close games this year, so I think this is going to be close. I do not foresee the Cardinals blowing out the Packers. I do see the Packers sticking around. The Cardinals may win, but I think it'll be within a field goal to 4 points. So I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers tonight plus 6.5 points. That will go for my picks, guys. So if you're watching and you want to try to get this pick on the board, you still have some time. So the Green Bay Packers tonight plus 6.5 against the Cardinals at home. I think the Cardinals being at home, I just think this is a big time matchup. It's Kyler Murray tied for third in the NFL among rushing touchdowns for quarterbacks. That stat just came across the line, and he's just a dynamic player. This Green Bay Packers team's going to have to keep him in the pocket. Once he gets outside the pocket and is able to create these plays and push that ball down the field, you're really in some trouble. Aaron Rodgers now has 2+ touchdown passes in his last 6 games. Of course, he had that first game. You can kind of throw that one away. They got blown out by the Saints. So since then, he's thrown 2 touchdown passes in each game. And you have 5 really good teams right there in the NFC, all log jammed at the top. You have the Arizona Cardinals, the Green Bay Packers, the LA Rams, who the Cardinals did beat, Tampa Bay, who lost to Who did Tampa Bay lose? Tampa Bay lost to the Rams, and then Dallas lost to Tampa Bay. So all 5 of those teams, the 3 other teams lost to lost to one another, and the Packers lost to the Saints. So you had the Packers lose to the Saints, the Rams lose to the Cardinals, the Buccaneers lost to the Rams, and the Dallas lost to the Buccaneers, and they all just beating up on each other. So that's what you have going on in the NFC, and then you also have the Saints at 4-2, Atlanta's 3-3. So it's going to be an interesting race. 7 teams get in as well. They did add that extra team, which is huge in each division. And then the AFC teams, you have a bunch of teams up at the top at 5-2, 4-2. You have the Titans at 5-2, the Bengals at 5-2, the Ravens at 5-2, Bills 4-2, the Chiefs. Chiefs, guys, what's going on with them? They are 3-4 on the season. You got the Steelers at 3-3, Broncos. The Browns 4-3, Chargers 4-2, and the Chargers, guys, a lot of people think they're going to just beat the Patriots this week. I'm telling you right now, the Patriots beat down on the Chargers last year. I'm not saying that matters, but 45-0 last year against Herbert. Bill Belichick has a way to scheme up against these good quarterbacks. I wouldn't be shocked if the Patriots beat the Chargers this weekend. But and we'll go over those picks, guys, like I do later on in the show. But just to show you, man, you have some really good teams at the top in both divisions, NFC and AFC. And it's really anybody's ball game. I think right now in the AFC, I think probably the Baltimore Ravens, although they did get beat by the Bengals, they're playing really good ball. Offense, defense, special teams. And then the Bengals, you got to like what they're doing. Joe Burrow, he's just a gamer. The guy's really good. But the Buffalo Bills are the team to watch out for this year. Just the way they built this defense up. Just a really good team. Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, the 2 running backs they have. They finally went out and got him Diggs last year. He's got a big-time receiver. And then you're drafting on defense. You're drafting these defensive linemen like A.J. Espinosa and Ed Oliver, and then you sign a Micah Hyde away from Green Bay a few years ago. You draft Tre'Davious White. So this team is just really good. They would probably be my pick in the AFC right now. And then in the NFC, it's hard to go against Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. So we'll see what happens, but that's how it's kind of shaken down in the NFL right now. And the World Series, guys, like I said, 1-1 series. It was always going to be hard for Atlanta to go win both those games last in Houston and go up 2-0 headed back to Atlanta. A little concerning for Max Fried right now because he did get rocked his last 2. But at the end of the day, the Braves are in the World Series. They're about to play 3 games. They're guaranteed 3 games in Atlanta, so that's just awesome. And the ticket prices, man, in Atlanta are a problem. And I knew they were going to be expensive. Like, I knew they were probably going to be about $500 or so, guys, maybe for section like $400. But some of these prices, like over $1,000, and then fees, tickets, all that good stuff, parking. I mean, you got families, families trying to take their kid to the World Series to like experience it, and it's unreal. It's unfair, but I understand it. Supply and demand. It is what it is. But for guys trying to take their young kid, their young son, their young daughter to the games, it's kind of bullshit the way these ticket, first class ticket members or whatever are doing people. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. No one really cares about anyone else. Honestly, that's sad. It's the world we live in. But, at the end of the day, I think Ian Anderson, gonna have to be huge. Give us 5-6 innings. And then Eddie Rosario, stay hot. Eddie Rosario, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, all those guys at the top. Dansby Swanson gonna have to be huge in the field, as well as getting on base. And then, Austin Riley, can he be Austin Riley from the postseason? I mean, from the postseason and the regular season. And then Freddie Freeman, can he be that all-time Atlanta Brave and get some huge timely hits against this Astros team who has Altuve and Carrera, the shortstop, and then Gurriel and Bregman. I mean, this team is very, very good. But all right, guys. So I want to move on to the NBA just a little bit. Talk about the NBA real quick. The Lakers kind of have been struggling a little bit. LeBron James is injured with a sprained ankle. He's missed the last 2 games. Russell Westbrook had him a Russell Westbrook type game 2 nights ago. Last night they lose to OKC. So they're up and down. Brooklyn, James Harden is only averaging like 18 points a game right now, not able to draw fouls. They've kind of changed that rule where he's not able to draw the fouls as easy as he used to. Golden State, guys, surprising 4-0. Golden State without Klay Thompson. Without Klay Thompson, they're 4-0. They have Otto Porter. They also have Andrew Wiggins, two top 10 picks, from a few years back. Wiggins, of course, was a number 1 pick. Porter, like a number 3, number 4 pick. So you have some guys, some talented guys. Klay Thompson, when he comes back, Draymond Green. This is going to be a top 4 team out west. The Jazz are playing good basketball. Nuggets are struggling a little bit. So it's just crazy to see this early on. The Hawks are playing pretty good. The Heat, the Bucks. You've got some really talented teams on both sides in the East and the West. Very, very early on. I think most teams have played 3 or 4 games. The Grizzlies have looked pretty exciting. They're 2-2. John Morant, just a fabulous player. Zion Williamson is injured right now, but when he comes back, he'll be a really good player. Reddish, I like what I'm seeing from him. Is Reddish a guy you're going to keep around in Atlanta, or is he going to be a guy you can trade and get an all-star type player? So we'll see what they do there. But man, NBA is real fun. And next, after the World Series is over and everything, guys, I will pick. I'll pick my NBA playoff teams and all that, MVP. I just wait till at least. I normally wait till about December on that. So I'll just, as soon as the playoffs. As soon as MLB gets over with the playoffs, I will go ahead and make those picks for the NBA, guys. So just some exciting stuff to talk about in the NBA. Boston's looked pretty good so far. The Hornets have looked good. So you have the NBA's in really, really good hands. Got a lot of young talent going on right now. All right, so before we get into my locks and the college picks, guys, I want to talk a little bit about some games this week real quick in college before we get out of here and watch this Cardinals-Packers game for tonight, guys. So I'm giving you everything you need to hear for this weekend. Notable matchups, you have Iowa 3-point underdogs on the road at Wisconsin. I like Iowa in that ball game. Liberty minus 36 points versus UMass. Everyone who plays UMass is like 5 touchdown favorites, but every week the team who plays UMass covers. I guarantee you're going to look up and Liberty will be beating the shit out of UMass. It'll be like 56-0. I'm telling you right now, if you want to win some free money, put some money on Liberty. Minus 36, Malik Willis. He's the real deal. Going to be the number 1, number 2 quarterback selected in the NFL draft in 2022. You heard it here first. Purdue plus 7.5 over Nebraska. Nebraska hasn't beat anybody. They're kind of hit or miss this year, but they've played better the last few games. I expect Purdue to hang around. They may get beat, but I think they'll cover the 7.5. Pitt, Miami. Don't look now, but Kenny Pickett, I'm telling you, the guy is a senior. He got that extra year of COVID, and he is a Heisman contender. I'm telling you, they haven't had a quarterback this good at Pitt since Dan Marino, and this guy can get drafted. I'm telling you, he's that good. And Pittsburgh has a chance. I know they've lost a game to Western fucking Michigan. They lost to Western Michigan, but besides that, Pitt can definitely come back. And maybe win the ACC. We'll see. Wake Forest is undefeated right now at 7-0 at number 13. Wake Forest is 7-0 and undefeated in the ACC. Yes, I said that correctly. Michigan State. We'll see who's the real deal in this matchup. I think I like Michigan, but I don't know. Mel Tucker and Michigan State could easily cover. They're like 4.5 point underdogs. You got Texas Baylor. I like Baylor in this matchup. Iowa State, West Virginia, I like Iowa State. SMU, Houston, 6-1 versus 7-0. I'll roll with SMU to stay undefeated against Houston in this one. UNC, Notre Dame, battle of 2 teams that are just disappointing. Notre Dame, of course, has only lost 1 game though. UNC's lost a couple. I like Notre Dame in this one. UVA, Bronco Mendenhall, his former BYU coach, I believe. was the coach of BYU, now is at UVA. They get to play in that Bronco Mendenhall Bowl. And then Fresno State, San Diego State looks to remain undefeated. We'll see what happens in that. So those are some notable matchups, guys. Before I get to my picks, my picks at. All right, so I always save my college picks for the dead last. So we'll talk about the other notable matchups and how I did last week before we get into the NFL. So I already talked about it. It's about to tip off right now. NFL, they're 8 minutes to kick off. The Arizona Cardinals versus the Packers. I like the Arizona Cardinals, but by like a field goal, okay? Like 27, 24, 24, 21, something like that. It's going to be a close game. Expect Aaron Rodgers to show up and show out. I bought a point and got the Green Bay Packers at plus 7.5 on a couple bets. So that's where I'm at right now with the Packers tonight. I think that they're going to cover the spread, but they may lose the ball game. But wouldn't be shocked you wake up tomorrow morning and the Packers won the ball game. So I will take Arizona with the pick for my show. Take Green Bay with the points. All right, guys. Atlanta versus Carolina. Carolina's come back down to earth. They're 3-4. Atlanta Falcons squeak out another win versus a Miami team who's let's just admit they're not that good. But Atlanta, I like Arthur Smith. I like this Matt Ryan. The combo with those two teams. I like the Atlanta Falcons this week. 31, scoring 31 on this. 31-23 against the Carolina Panthers. I like Atlanta. Buffalo versus Miami. Let's just say Buffalo's going to beat the shit out of the Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa, it's not all his fault if you watched him a little bit. What's up, Rick? If you've watched Miami a little bit, Tua Tagovailoa is not the issue. He's getting out the ball quickly. His playmakers need to make more plays. They don't have much of a running game. Their offensive line is shit. Do better, Miami. Do better. Because I'm telling you, if you trade away Tua and you get Deshaun Watson, Tua's going to go somewhere else. He's going to be a very good player. I've been all on the Tua bandwagon. Yes, you probably shouldn't have taken Tua over Herbert, but at the end of the day, Tua is not a bad quarterback. Okay, so I'll take Buffalo over Miami. San Francisco over Chicago, just two teams who don't want to win right now. Justin Fields and the Chicago team, Matt Nagy. This could be any game now. Matt Nagy could be fired. I think it's time to go. I think it's time to move on from Matt Nagy. But at the end of the day, I'll take San Francisco. I'll just take Kyle Shanahan. And Deebo Samuel's going to make some plays versus this Chicago defense with Khalil Mack possibly out of it. So I'll go San Francisco. Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Not sure if Baker Mayfield's going to play. This Cleveland backfield banged up. Nick Chubb expected to play. Kareem Hunt is out. Landry banged up. Odell Beckham banged up. I'll take Pittsburgh in this one just based off their defense. Watt is possibly out, but I like Minkah Fitzpatrick, Bush. They have some playmakers. And then Najee Harris, a guy who can run the ball, also catch the ball out of the backfield. I'll go Pittsburgh over Cleveland in this one. Philly, Detroit, man. I'm going Detroit to get their first victory. Jared Goff and their head coach Campbell, they get it done this week versus Philly. Philly struggles and they move to 2-6. Tennessee, man, Tennessee's who's playing better than Tennessee right now? Nobody. And they beat Kansas City and they beat Buffalo, two really good teams. The last two matchups, Derrick Henry a favorite for MVP right now. Give me Tennessee over Indianapolis. Cincinnati, they're going to beat New York Jets, who are going to start their backup. Zach Wilson out with the leg injury or knee injury. I like Cincinnati big in this one. My lock of the week. All right, so LA Rams, guys. Houston. I'll take the Rams over Houston. Don't have to explain this much. That should be a pretty easy win. New England, guys, over the Chargers. This is my upset of the week. New England, of course, is 4.5-point underdogs, but last year they beat the Chargers 45-0. I think they go back to some of that game planning and they get after it. And I'll take New England in my upset of the week, guys, versus the Chargers. Seattle, Jacksonville. I'll roll with Seattle in this one to get back in the win column. Washington, Denver. This is a toss-up for me. Teddy Bridgewater. I'm going with it being at home, guys. I will roll with I will roll with Denver being at home versus Washington. I'll take the Denver Broncos versus the Washington football team. Tampa Bay versus New Orleans. I think this is going to be a grudge match. Tom Brady 0-2 versus New Orleans last year in the regular season. Of course, beat him in the playoffs, but this Tampa Bay team is playing really, really well. New Orleans falls to 4-3. Tampa Bay gets the win. Dallas versus Minnesota, something to watch out for here. Dak Prescott, of course, could be out with a calf injury. May lean to play it safe, but I expect Dak Prescott to play. Minnesota, of course, will keep it close, but I like Dallas in this game. And then Kansas City and the Giants. Monday Night Football, Patrick Mahomes is able to show everyone on Monday night, get back to 500, and he'll show everyone why he's the best quarterback in the NFL. Of course, leads the league in touchdowns, but also has the most interceptions right now. So, guys, 67-38 on the season. I was 9-4 last week, guys. So I'll go ahead and read off my picks right now. I'll go Arizona over Green Bay, although I like Green Bay with the points tonight, plus 6.5, plus 7.5, depending on where you get them. So I'll go Arizona, Atlanta over Carolina, Buffalo over Miami, San Francisco over Chicago, guys, Pittsburgh over Cleveland, Detroit over Philly, Tennessee over Indianapolis, Cincinnati over the Jets, LA Rams over Houston, New England over the Chargers, guys, in my upset of the week. Seattle over Jacksonville. Denver over Washington. Tampa Bay over New Orleans. Dallas over Minnesota. And Kansas City over the Giants, guys. So those are my NFL locks of the week, guys. And before we get out of here, I have to talk about my college locks of the week. Before we get out of here, guys, I want to talk about my picks I did last week, guys. So coming in from last week, I had Oklahoma State plus 7 over Iowa State. That was a victory, guys, so that was a win. I also had University of Texas San Antonio minus 6 over La Tech. They beat them pretty good. That was a second victory. Then I had Oregon plus 3 over UCLA. That won. But I had LSU plus 9 over Ole Miss. That was a loss. And NC State over Miami minus 3. They lost by a point. So 3-2 last week, improving my record to 31, 21, and 1, guys. So that's how I stack up right now, heading into I think week 9 in college. But hey, 10 games over 500, I will take that every single day of the week. We need to have a 5-0 week this week, guys, and I think this is it. So I will start with Penn State, Ohio State, and this game's plus 18.5. I just think that is far too many points. I'm not going to sit here and explain it. I think that is far too many points in a rivalry game, a game that is normally pretty close. I like Ohio State by about 11 to 14 points, but I'll take Penn State plus 18.5. If you want to buy a point or two to get it even more, go ahead. Kentucky minus 1 over Mississippi State. I'm just going with Kentucky in the ball game, so if they win, I hope it's more than 1 point. This could be a game that goes to overtime. Kentucky, look for them to run the football on this Mississippi State defense, and then they have some playmakers on the defense and make up some plays against Mississippi State. I'll take Kentucky minus 1 over Mississippi State. Georgia, guys, Georgia is at minus 14, depending on if you've got them at minus 14, minus 14.5. I have them at 14, guys, but I'm going to buy half a point and get them to 13.5. That minus 13.5, minus 14, depending on where you get it, depending on if you can buy points or not. But if you can, go ahead and buy that extra point for security. I like Georgia by about 14 to 17 points in this game. 41, 24, 31, 13, something like that. It's going to be, I would be surprised if Florida scored 2 touchdowns, but we'll see what happens. So UGA Bulldogs minus 14 over Florida. Ole Miss plus 3 over Auburn. This is just me going with Ole Miss. They could lose the ball game and keep it within 3, but I see them maybe going into Auburn and getting the victory. I'll take Ole Miss plus 3 over Auburn. And then my last pick, guys, my FSU Seminoles, 3-4 now after losing their first 4 games. They're 3-4. They're heading to Clemson, who's 4-3, and Clemson is not a very good team offensively. Florida State has looked better the last few weeks. I'll take Florida State plus 10 in a game where they could easily cover. Don't know about if they'll win the game, but I think they will cover this thing, and I'll take FSU plus 10. And then my bonus pick, guys, so the kickoff literally just happened, but Green Bay plus 6.5. I bought a point to make it plus 7.5. That is my lock of the night. Green Bay plus 7.5 over the Arizona Cardinals. That is going towards my picks, guys. So 6 picks this weekend. Please let me know. What's up, Lance? If you're tailing any of them, if you're going to fade any of them. Like I said, I got Penn State plus 18.5, Kentucky minus 1, UGA minus 14, minus 13.5, depending on where you get it, over Florida. Ole Miss plus 3 over Auburn, FSU plus 10 over Clemson, and then Green Bay, like I said, guys, minus 6.5, minus 7.5, or plus 7.5 over Arizona, guys. So kicking it with Crowder. This was episode 104. Appreciate y'all watching tonight. Just be sure to hit that share button, hit that like button down below, and then, guys, be sure to check out my podcast, Kicking It with Crowder. You can catch me every Wednesday and every Thursday night, guys, coming to you live from Columbus, Georgia. I am out, guys. Until next week, I'll be at Ivy Park next Thursday night, guys, to do some trivia. Until then, I'll see you.